Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
And I'm Trish.
And today we will be covering some number of Persona 2. Part 6. I've missed a lot of these. I have no idea what number we're on anymore.
We're going to play some
normally
more Persona.
you do know.
Yeah, no. As you can tell, I always know exactly the right number, and I never stumble on this part of the intro. I never have ever before. But we're going to do part 6, which will end after the scene at the concert hall. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week?
My week was bad because I saw they're making more Archer, even though Jessica Walter died.
Yeah.
That sucks.
How can you have that show without her? And
Yeah,
also, that
RIP
show
to the
has
fucking
gone
queen.
on long enough. They
Yeah.
have enough of it.
Yeah, we
It's
don't need
not
more
like-
of it. No
it's not
shade,
like-
but they made a lot of it. It's a good show, and they made a lot of it.
It's not like, oh man, Jessica Walter died, and so now we're only going to have 2 seasons of this great show. There's, 10 seasons or something?
Yeah.
I stopped watching, not because it stopped being good, just because, I stopped watching because, life, and sometimes you're too busy to watch TV, but for the sake of this bit, I stopped watching because they'd made enough of it.
Yeah, I like...
And then they made 4 more
Naturally
seasons
grew
of
out of it.
watching it. So it's just that's at that point, they've made enough. You know what I mean? If you watch the show through a whole era of your life, and then there were subsequent eras, and then only now are they canceling it. It's just let it die. It's not everything has to go on forever, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good actually. I went through a period of being very sleepy. I guess I'm still in that period, even though I've been getting plenty of sleep actually. Maybe not all the time, but for the most part. But sleep's important. Everyone else should get enough of it. Don't be like me, kids. But anyway, 2 fun things. My girlfriend got really, really into Castlevania Bloodlines.
Oh man.
And I've already played a pretty good bit of that. I have a cart of that on my Genesis. But I've never beaten it just because, it's pretty hard. Not insanely hard, but I've just never been I'm going to devote enough time to this to really get into it. But it happened to be on Genesis online for the Switch. So Kali got real into it. And I got to see the game's got 6 levels. And it turns out that every time Kali beat a level, I'm like, oh, I bet the next part's going to be something I've never seen before. Turns out I've played 5 of the 6 levels.
Nice.
So it turns out that at some point in my life I have almost beaten the game. It wasn't as bad as I thought. But yeah, it's a great game. And getting to revisit it by watching someone else play has been really awesome. And eventually Kali did beat it. But then, after you beat it, unlocks expert mode. And because Kali is a sicko freak, he's now trying to beat it on expert mode, which is great.
My opinion is that Castlevania is already expert mode.
Yeah. Bloodlines
Classic
is honestly easier than some of the other ones.
It is.
It doesn't take a lot of effort to be able to get to the 5th level out of 6. It's
the
not
ending
that
boss
bad.
rush is fucking hard. Well, the middle of the 3 bosses
the game gets
is
hard,
easy,
but if you look at Castlevania, the NES games, it's that hard the whole time.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think expert mode's really cool though. They don't. It's not just things do more damage to you, but also they'll change level layout, not level layout. They'll change enemy placements, but mostly just it's hey, this stage that was normal and had some skeletons in it. That's right, it's got Medusa heads now. They're just gonna keep coming at you. But also enemies move
the
faster.
worst part of the game?
Yep. Enemies move faster, and also they legitimately sometimes actually have different animations. Legitimately, when things are when the little dragon bone enemy, literally the one made out of dragon bones, is doing its little wavy pattern, it'll like have a different wavy pattern. And so it's actually a pretty distinctly different experience playing it on extreme mode. So just shout outs to that game is all I wanted to say. It's a great game. We love it. And I've also been watching my partner play Digimon Survive, which is the best graphics I've ever seen in a VN. It's jaw-droppingly pretty video game.
It really is.
Also, as someone who mostly associates Digimon with like 90s, early aughts Digimon, it's weird seeing something that is definitely Digimon, like not just that it has Digimon in it, but like the character designs.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's Digimon. The main character wears goggles, but it looks like modern anime. Like it looks like Your Name type shit, like that modern, very like naturalistic, sort of relatively down to earth, realistic style that you see from a lot of like slice of life stuff. That's what the art style is. So it's weird seeing Digimon but looking like that instead of Digimon but looking like a kid's cartoon from the aughts. It's a beautiful game. I'm just, my jaw's on the ground every time I watch it be played. Yeah. The graphics are just so lovely. I'm not even talking about the tactical battles, which do have like Dragon Bone sprites and stuff, and it's okay. I mean, it does look really good, but I'm gonna have my critiques of it. But the out of combat VN stuff is like every area you're in, they layer all these like environmental and lighting effects on top of the 2D character images that are different for every place you're in. So when you're a forest, it's like there's like sun dappling onto their face and stuff like that. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. The in-battle Dragon Bone animation is some of the best that I've ever seen, but it's still obviously Dragon Bone animation.
It's still very good. It's good enough to make me not hate it, which is saying something.
But the Dragon Bone animation of the people in the visual novel section is fucking phenomenal, and you can barely even tell that that's what it is. And it's just, everything is subtly animated, and it's beautiful, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend, if you like spooky visual novels and can deal with the most bare bones, basic ass tactical battle system that I've ever played, like even more bare bones than Pokemon Conquest.
And look, like, it starts off really slow, but just keep playing. Just keep playing. Soon you're going to have Digimon coming out of every orifice.
Yeah.
I know what you mean by it feeling weird. I remember when, I think it's called Digimon Try, came out, the one where it's the grown-ups from the original series, and I was seeing pictures of it, and I'm like, that's not Digimon.
Yeah.
That's a hip new anime. I only know Digimon being old.
Yeah, but also, like, identifiably it is. Like, every character in this new one, they definitely fit into archetypes. I'm like, oh, that guy is like that guy you get in Digimon shows. Oh, this guy is that type of guy you get from Digimon. So they're falling so clearly into these archetypes that are familiar from the series, while, again, looking like a modern-day, fresh animation that we don't associate with Digimon. We associate it with, like, I don't know, like lesbian teenagers who are like rival soccer players, or some shit.
I am sure that anime exists.
I'm sure it does.
So this character designer has been the character designer for the games since the PSP version of Digimon World, and it's weird how good Digimon Survive is doing, that a lot of people are like, this is great, but why does Digimon look like this? Like, this is not, Maddie's not the first person I've heard say that. And for me, the nerd, I've been like, Digimon has looked like this since 2007.
And again, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not that familiar with Digimon. I'm sure that that's where most of what I'm saying is coming from. But whatever, that's my reaction to it.
Yeah, and it's still like it's good. I knew I was going to like it, but I was prepared to defend it.
Right? Yeah.
I don't really have to. It's a very solid visual novel.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's like, oh, this isn't just I like it because I'm like a sicko freak. This is actually is good. Okay, what a nice surprise. That's how I'm gonna be with. That's how I'm gonna be with Sonic Frontiers once that comes out.
Yeah.
As Bernard said in the group in one of the chats, I am definitely getting Sonic Frontiers when it comes out. So I'll be the canary in the coal mine for the rest of y'all. I am probably going to love the game, but I will be sure to let y'all know if it sucks, but I love it anyway, if it's got problems, or if it fucking rules. That way all of y'all can, save your money and wait and hear my verdict. I know I might be an insane person with ridiculous opinions, but I'm not really that insane or have that ridiculous of opinions. And I think I'll be able to tell you if you should actually buy the game or not.
And you can definitely trust the person, people like Maddie Grace and I, who like Sonic 2006.
Everyone else is wrong. What can we say? I can easily enumerate every problem that game has, and there are many. I don't think people are wrong about the problems. I think people are wrong about not seeing the good things that are also in the game. Anyway, whatever.
I think it would have a fan base if it hadn't come out in 2006 when everyone was so irony poisoned. Yeah,
exactly. People were very negative about games at the time. We hadn't gotten over that hump and decided that all video games are good. AVAG. All video games are good.
It's true.
AVGN.
EBK. Except for Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, I thought my brain immediately went to even Baten Kaitos. I'm like,
no, especially Baten Kaitos, Bernard.
No, I like Baten Kaitos. I played it when I was a kid and loved it, and I don't remember anything about it.
Man, it's been a while since What Happened in Your Life this week was just me talking about actual video games that I'm okay. I still haven't actually played them, but look at that. What a nice improvement over my usual week, which is either reading a book or some bullshit.
Yeah.
No bullshit this week. It's been awesome.
Hell yeah. What about you, Trish? How have you been?
Not great. Having a lot of sleep issues. Anxiety problems. But, I'm here.
Dang.
Sleep
you
problems
think how
are the
fundamentally important sleep is? Our bodies could, do it right.
If only.
My body can't do it right.
No, actually, you know what? I used to have huge sleep problems when I was a kid, when I was a teen, when I was in college, and the last couple of years, I've gotten very, very able to just sleep normal, and I'm very, very fortunate and lucky because hopefully I don't go back to having these problems in the future, but I'm realizing now how nice that is, right? Because it's like, oh shit, yeah, for once, a couple years out of my 30, I've actually been good in this area, and it's so nice. I didn't mean that as a brag. I meant that as I've been there and it sucks.
Yeah. I have a 5-year-old who is simultaneously making me so proud and also making me want to strangle her a little bit. And I recently had to take away her Kindle because I went into her room at midnight and she was still up reading manga because she's my kid and that's awesome. But also other nights she just will not go to sleep and will just yell instead. So it's been a real mixed bag. Storm, meanwhile, has hit his vocabulary explosion that happens from 2 to 3 to 4, and he's just talking constantly, and it's amazing, and I love it. And parenthood is very busy. I haven't played Digimon Survive or Xenoblade Chronicles 3 except for maybe 2 hours between the two of them since they came out a month ago. And those are the only games that I've played. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
I am really excited about Soul Hackers 2 coming out tonight.
Oh, that's coming out tonight. Oh, speaking of games with good graphics, yo.
Shit, I thought I had more time. Why are there so many RPGs hitting this exact time of the year?
So long.
It's cool that we're in some kind of weird RPG renaissance lately, but also why are we in a renaissance of the games that take the longest to play? Can we have a shmup renaissance? Can we have we should just reverse the number of 2D action games that take about an hour to beat and RPGs that we get each year.
I was just talking on B&K about how much I love short games.
Yep. Again, RPGs are awesome, but just like, can we just have a more manageable number of them?
The good thing about short games is I get to see number go up on backlogged.
That's right. Let's go.
When I log that I beat the game.
Which is very important. Speaking of beating the game, let's beat... I'm just kidding, we're not beating this game today.
No.
Good God, no.
That would have been really good, though, if we were beating this game. It would have been a good segue.
We do beat some asses.
That's right.
Yeah. So speaking of beating things, let's beat some ass.
Let's go.
The gang heads to Smile Hirosaka, which, as you might have heard last week, is a bad dungeon. Do we want to talk about how it's a bad dungeon? Or just leave it at that?
Give me the spark notes, because I'm watching the movie and it skipped over the dungeon in its entirety.
It's just a big fucking maze. Like every building in this city.
And it doesn't have, like, interesting things about it. It's not like it's a tricky maze. It's not like it's like, what do you call it? It's not like fucking like Phantasy Star 1 where there's all these clever little tricks and you gotta like map things out. It's like it's just, you know, you just kind of depth first search things, you know, you see a left or a right and you're like, let's try going this way, and then you're like, nope, it wasn't that way.
And like
and then
later,
you go the other way.
Yeah. And later this week, we'll go to Alba Park, which is similar, but it does have beautiful graphics and amazing music. The graphics here are just a mall, and the music is fine. It's good, but it's not like a standout track.
Yeah.
Listen, when it comes to the mazes in this game, when Daedalus the architect was building this city, he clearly wasn't having his best day. Everyone should stop holding him up to the labyrinth like everything has to be his masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah. That is what's going on here, isn't it? Daniel has definitely designed all the dungeons in this game. I just want to know, like, what their, like, building codes are like in this city.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, how do people so quickly escape this building when the fire alarm goes off later?
Yeah, they all get...
You'd expect them to just be like, you would go through the building and you'd just see people running around like, how the fuck do I get out of here again?
No, wait, maybe the maze is a fire protection thing. It's like, you know, it's like you're kind of... The fire's spreading and the spreading. It's like, which way are the people? And it's that you kind of juke them out. You know what I mean?
The fire?
Yeah.
I see.
It takes a long time for the fire to spread because it doesn't, because of how complicated everything is.
Yes. So the gang finds the seminar hall, but the seminar is already in progress and the door is locked. Because this is a video game, Katsuya suggests sneaking in through the air ducts. Maya has a vision of her and the Alpha Timeline gang in the restroom lighting a cigarette to set off the fire alarm. In the vision, we can see a person-sized air duct cover. The gang heads to the restroom, climbs into the air duct, and finds their way to the seminar hall. They watch from the air duct as Genji Sasaki hollers at a crowd about not knowing how to live and not having a dream. He says that's why we have Chizuru and fortune-telling and all that. Genji then turns his attention to the giant dragon statue standing behind him, flanked by two huge glass tanks of some sort of ichor, much like what we saw in in the lab in one timeline. Genji says, "If you believe Mr. Chizuru's words and touch this statue, you'll be cleansed. Now be reborn into innocence." Nanjo realizes the statue is the same type of machine that they saw in the lab. Someone from the crowd walks up and touches it. It apparently sucks away his sins. The crowd starts chanting, "Let's think positive." And Ulala's like, Maya, they stole your catchphrase. The gang reconvenes in the bathroom and decides to set off the fire alarm to get everyone out of the seminar hall so they can go in and wreck up the place. The plan works. They enter the seminar hall, which is now empty except for Sasaki. They intimidate him, but he says he won't talk. Balfu tells Maya she knows what to do, and Maya whips out her guns and shoots the giant tanks of Kegare. This was definitely not reckless and will not have immediate dire consequences.
I fucking hollered. I love her.
I was like, what are you doing? This isn't safe.
I want to shoot a gun. I'm going to become a gun bitch.
Oh, no. The Kegare spills out of the tanks and is absorbed into Sasaki's body. He turns into a Joker and attacks. So the gang kicks his ass. And they wonder what to do next, since they couldn't learn anything here. Nanjo says it would be a waste of time to go after the other seminars one by one, and that instead they should publicly expose the New World Order. Because once you publicly expose something bad is happening, everyone rallies together to stop it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. There's no public defending of it, or...
Because all that's needed to... The problem with the world is that people are stupid and have wrong ideas. And if you simply tell people that they're stupid and have wrong ideas, and then they have right ideas, then everyone will make the world a better place. And the bad things will stop being bad, and the people in power will stop having power because all the good people decided to stop having bad ideas. So that's why you all need to buy my newsletter.
Buy a newsletter?
Well, I meant to say newspaper, but yeah. Yeah, it's on Substack. Duh, it's 2022, guys. Come on.
I don't know what a Substack is.
It's like the new cool thing that people use for blogs.
Yeah, it's like a paid RSS feed type thing.
It's actually pretty cool. It's sort of like a blog thing, like Medium, but it's formatted more like a newsletter. So whenever you publish something, it'll just send emails. So if you're subscribed to someone's Substack, like, yeah, you can go to their page and look at it like it's a Medium, but you can also, like, it'll just go to your inbox as a nicely formatted little email. So that's sort of the idea, is that it's a paid subscription. Everyone can just set up a subscription newsletter.
Is that what that cool Dracula Daily thing is run on?
You know, I think that is a Substack. But yeah, I follow. I don't pay for any Substacks, but I do follow one or two free feeds that are really, really lovely, really lovely. Anyway, I'm done with this bit. That's not how politics works, people.
So, Nanjo says they should expose the New World Order, and before even waiting for the gang to agree, he calls Eriko and tells her to give the data on the New World Order to Matsuoka, who can leak it to a trustworthy pipeline on Substack. As always happens when we don't know what to do, someone receives a phone call. Katsuya gets a call from Sneak. Katsuya asks Sneak if he was behind the attack on the penthouse. He dodges the question and tells Katsuya to meet him at the concert hall in Alba Park. Katsuya heads off to the concert hall without the gang, and it's kind of weird that they split the party here because the gang just immediately goes and follows him, but they have to go through the Alba Park dungeon without him for some reason. We see Katsuya enter the concert hall. He is shocked to find Chief Togashi there. Togashi says he wasn't informed about the attack because the organization does not trust him. He says, "If you want to shoot, go ahead. But can you at least listen to my story? I want to atone for the sin I've committed." Katsuya decides he wants to hear the plot dump. Togashi says, "Here, let me explain. The New World Order is an organization that worships a godlike figure called Gozen. You've at least heard of Kyotada Sumeru. That's right, a shogun warrior who used to rule this land during the Civil War. 20 years ago, when Hanmaru Park was built, they unearthed Kyotoda's mummy. That's when everything began. The top leaders of the organization were responsible for the park's construction. Until then, they were just a small local company, but now they are big enough to move this country. All because of Kyotoda's strong curses. To me, it just looks like a mummy. They claim to be able to hear voices. They worship the mummy and plan to destroy the entire world outside of Sumeru to create a utopia. To them, the entire world is a sin. An innocent world is created by one tribe, a tribe with one universal utopian ideal. The eradication of sin by punishment, the spreading of jokers and fortunes are solely for that purpose. Katsuya's like, but people should be able to atone for their sins. Togashi continues. The problem is their will and power. You may know that fortune-telling stems from an ancient curse called Wang Long. The dragons of Wang Long are underground energy flows called ley lines. Since ancient times, man has prospered by watching or sometimes controlling it. They are going to use the dragon for the contrary purpose. The dragons hate Kegare. If amassed in large quantities and released, the dragons will band together to kill it. Natural disasters, causing the poles of the world to shift, will knock the Earth off its axis, destroying the world. They plan to elevate the entire city with an ancient spaceship called Torefune, while watching the entire process unfold. The Torefune is already made real by rumor. Now no person can stop the rumors. The only way is to defeat Sudo and Gozen. But then Captain Shimazu shows up. He says this is Togashi's second time betraying someone. First his best friend, now the New World Order. Shimazu reveals to Katsuya that when Katsuya's father was closing in on Tatsuya Sudo 10 years ago, Togashi worked with Tatsuzo to fabricate charges against Katsuya's father. And I'm sure the fact that all the names there sound the same didn't confuse you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was easy.
Togashi seems sincerely apologetic for what he did. He turns to Shimazu and says that he's already revealed the organization to a trusted source not infected by Sudo, which, it's not a source. Togashi's the source. Anyway, Shimazu says this is their intent. Kotodama's revelation takes precaution. A story won't become a rumor if it's too unrealistic. We need realism and publicity. For that, we must make the public aware of our existence, purpose, and power. You have advertised us very well. Shimazu shoots Togashi. But then the gang appears. Maya holds up Shimazu, who drops his gun. But a bunch of New World Order goons stream in. The gang fights Shimazu and the hired goons. After the fight, Katsuya handcuffs Shimazu, then walks over to Togashi. Togashi asks Katsuya to stop the New World Order, but dies before he can say where the hideout is. Balfu says they should head back to his place and plan their next move. And I'm not clear on if Shimazu is dead, because he, falls limp. But Katsuya says, I won't let you die as a public servant or something. So did he just, was his idea to just, leave him there for the cops to find? The cops who are in the pocket of the New World Order? I don't understand. And also, did they just leave Genji Sasaki there all jokerfied? Or did they off-screen take him to the Velvet Room? I don't know.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I definitely read that as what you said, just he's just gonna chill, I guess, and the cops will show up apparently. As to the other question, I have no clue at all.
That sure didn't take long, but we covered 2 dungeons.
Yeah, we did. We should probably pick up the pace and try and do bigger chunks, but I'm not playing the game, so I don't know how large these dungeons that it's skipping are and if they're too hard, because we are at the exact halfway point of the game movie. So if we're only halfway done with the game after 6 episodes,
it's gonna be a lot.
We've already covered a significant portion of the game movie that's ahead of where you're watching, because it shows everything from Nanjo's perspective. Then it shows Eriko's section, and they don't show everything from Eriko's perspective, but they show the TV station dungeon and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then they show, I think, a couple more scenes with Eriko.
Okay.
But yes, we should pick up the pace. Just the game is getting a little bit harder. And honestly, this week I could have taken notes on a larger section, but I was just kind of busy, and my next week is going to be a nightmare, so I probably won't have time to do a huge section of notes then either.
Yeah. And if it takes forever, Xenogears took 12 episodes, so if this one takes 12 episodes, it's not unheard of for a main series game.
And this game's out as good as Xenogears.
Yeah.
Looking at the walkthrough, I think that we'll be able to pull it off in 9 episodes.
Okay.
Cool. Love that.
Xenogears
was funny.
Also talks.
Go on.
I was going to say the game movie also re-talks to every single NPC after every single time they update, so it gets exponentially a lot more unimportant time on the second half of the series. So,
hey, it could be worse. It could be Septericor.
It could. We were on Septericor was our main game. I think it was like something like 19 weeks, because with all the times we pushed back and how long it took and everything.
And it was simply just because this amount of plot was like 8 hours of dungeons.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Xenogears was great. It was like, no, like we spent no time in dungeons this week. It's just that it was 3 hours of gameplay and 3 straight hours of cutscenes. We're having to limit our playing not by how much can we play in a week, but how much cutscenes can you explain in an hour and a half of podcast.
Yes. But let's hop on over to our memorable moment section and listen to another song from this game. I have one, and I don't remember if it took place last week or this week, or if you already did it. Well, I have 2. I just forgot the one that I had before, but because the second one is fantastic, and it was from this week. But when you're trying to set off the fire alarm to empty the seminar, Maya creates smoke to go along with the fire alarm by smoking a cigarette, and she sucks at smoking cigarettes, and there's a bespoke animation of her trying to smoke and coughing on the cigarette, and I just thought that was hilarious that they animated that. It made me
I got a kick out of that too. Makes you wonder if like who made that decision. Was a writer or director telling the sprite art people to do that, or was it maybe a little bit of improvisation, right? Like, hey, make an image, a thing of her smoking a cigarette, and they're like, wait, I got an idea. Because it does fit her character, but also it totally seems like the kind of thing that like could have been like a sprite artist taking a liberty to add some character to something, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of mine is also right around from that area. Bernard, you already said that this happened, but you didn't choose to quote this line. When we decide to use an air duct, the reason why we know there's an air duct is because, according to Tatsuya, quote, this building's design is somewhat outdated. And I was already thinking to myself what we were saying during this recording about how lame and annoying the level design is. So Katsuya saying the building's design is outdated, I was just like, boy, I'll say. Yeah, I don't, obviously it wasn't meant as a jokey wink nod to the game's level design, but it felt like one to me. I read it that way on purpose.
I really like how last week we got a sewer dungeon. This week we're climbing through air vents. It's really becoming a video game. There's going to be a magic key and a red door, or I forget what the pieces of a video game are.
I'm wondering if I missed this or something. So this is an alternate timeline. Like, we reset the timeline from last time, and things are different now, which I get. But does all the Hitler stuff still exist in this universe? What happened to it?
No, I don't think it does exist.
Yeah,
but like, why?
That was a rumor.
Because things were reset back to the. They were reset a while ago, to the point where the Alpha Timeline gang never met as kids. So those rumors didn't spread to become true.
And specifically because they never met Jin, or June? Why is my brain? June. That's okay. I was like, am I saying his name wrong? Okay. He never became Joker, and he never founded that organization and did that whole thing. So because that was never a thing, it didn't take place like it did before. Instead, we have this entirely different plot, which is likely being manipulated by the exact same forces as the first game's plot, but it seems to have taken longer to develop, and they're doing it a different way.
Okay, that makes sense. I just wasn't sure. Yeah, because it was just like, wait, like, you had all these people out here, this last battalion, all these people out who were like, man, we just want to do Hitler again. And now it's all these NWO guys, and it's like, yeah, they're also bad, but they're not the same as the guys from before. So where'd those guys go, right? But that makes sense. I mean, you can. It's pretty easy to hand wave. Like, yeah, if you change the timeline far back enough, butterfly effect style, it's just like, yeah, it's different now.
Well, and they specifically, the reason why they were like, oh, we need to change this specific event in history is because by doing so, it gets rid of the domino that led to the specific plot of the first game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
June's whole thing was motivated by his warped memories of what happened in childhood.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot the degree to which it was all. I forgot the degree to which none of the forces in motion in that game already existed prior to those events. But no, it's like, yeah, like before that stuff happened in June, like none of this was happening to any degree at all. So you can 100% just nip it in the bud. Okay, cool.
Well, some of what's happening in this game seems to have also been happening. There are the hints of something going on with, I can never remember his name because it's so close to the cop's name, but the dude who was Joker before he got killed.
Tatsuya Sudo.
That's right.
Yeah, it seems implied that a lot of what was happening with him in this game was happening with him in the other game as well. It just stopped when he became a part of the Joker organization.
Yeah. Gotcha. So yeah, it's not that this stuff randomly didn't happen, it's that this stuff very explicitly went a different direction.
So I found my other one, and it was from last week, but when the people at Atlas West decided to teach people in America about Japan in 1992, including Japanese pronunciation, and they just throw up in the middle of the sentence, instead of Kagure, they pop up KAY dash capital G capital A dash RAY in parentheses just to tell you how to pronounce it instead of it just like there's no voice acting. They could have just thrown it up there. It didn't matter. But them dropping in the pronunciation guide mid text box, I thought was hilarious.
It made me imagine whoever, I forget who said it, I think Balfu, just being like, for those at home. So one thing I found really funny, I didn't actually encounter this while I was playing the game. I was just scrolling through the game movie looking for the next plot point so I could take notes. And I saw a random text box where they're at the TV station and just talking to NPCs, and Maya talks to Nanjo, and he says, "Yes, I knew the LA Doggers were the number one team. Players, coaches, and owner. Everything is first class." And I just imagined Ulala changing the group chat name to LA Doggers.
That feels like the Ulala thing to do. For memorable moments for me, one comes from the band manager jerk when you confront him with the Kegare. And he acts like when you try to confront him, he's kind of like, he says a lot of wild stuff, but part of it is him being like, don't you see I'm trying to just take all the negative things out of these people. I'm helping them. And it's like, do you not see the giant vats of concentrated negativity behind you? Do you not think that's a problem?
Well, it's not a problem if no one comes up and shoots them.
Me when my friend is scrolling Twitter.
My other one being when Sneak is informing our cop party member about all of the wild fucking shit that the bad guys are up to. The fact that he listens to all of this stuff about like, well, clearly the way to have a utopia is there's just one tribe whose ideal is the only ideal, and like all these things, which is like, well, okay, this is all right. And then he mentions a thing about like, oh, and then the poles will get reversed, and that'll lead to the world getting destroyed. And he just goes, "What? The poles reversing? That's like," he's like, "That's ridiculous." I'm like, "That's the thing you're objecting to? The thing that we know is a natural phenomenon that happens every so often, and we're kind of like possibly due for at some point, and is mostly harmless, if anything. That's what you're objecting to."
Yeah.
Not the conspiracy to create this horrifying, possibly this genocidal, almost eugenicsy ideal. That's not what you're focusing on. That's not wild. What's wild is the poles being reversed. Okay.
That's right.
I mean, you'd think at this point, literally nothing would be wild.
That's true.
Like,
yeah, again,
I
it's
wouldn't
just like,
expect...
yeah, and then we're gonna blow up the ocean. And everyone's just like, all right. I mean, like, no, that's bad, but like, sure, we're gonna
like, of course they're gonna blow up the ocean.
Well, I guess we'll start blowing up the ocean then.
I've really been enjoying this game. I like the characters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a different vibe from the first Persona 2 video game.
Mm-hmm. I also really enjoy it. I wasn't sure that I would enjoy Persona 2 because of how much I enjoy Persona 3 and 5. But it's good and it's weird and it picks a very stupid way to gain personas.
Yes.
But it's good and I like it.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating game. Going into it as someone who's not a Persona fan, as I've talked about before, I had no clue how I was going to feel about it. And I mean, it's fun. It's wild, but it's mostly a good wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's also continues to be gorgeous in the way that it does low poly with sprites on top of it, like kind of even better than Xenogears. And Xenogears does, like, you remember that one scene in Xenogears where they have the secret passageway that they use by twisting a wine bottle and it like blew our fucking minds? Like, there's shit like that constantly. Like when she shot the things and they blew up into polygonal pieces of glass, and then the low poly glorped down of the shadows escaping or whatever. Like, that shit's cool, and they do that a lot in this game, and it's fantastic, and I love looking at it.
Yeah, let's go.
But anything else about this episode before we wrap it up?
I can't think of anything.
Like Ulala.
I love the long
too.
dungeon. I can't wait to do more of them.
I'm hoping that we can pick up the pace next week. I'm going to try and play before my next week turns to hell.
Sounds fake. Wait, what do you have going on?
So, at work, basically, I work in customer service, and so we have tickets coming in. And at work, for reasons, basically, we are having each week, we're having 2 agents for the time being do a lot more tickets than the rest of the team, and my week is next week.
Damn.
That sucks.
That does suck. But you know what doesn't suck? Heading on over to www.rpgbook.club and making some donations to help us keep the lights on and pay for the games that we get and stuff. We have plans for several games that will be brand new coming up. So that would be a great time to go and hit us up with some donations so that we can play brand new stuff instead of ancient games for the PS1. Most notably is we are 1 month out from the brand new Sasaki game that we'll all have to buy for the second time because we all bought it from Japan a year ago.
Let's go.
We weren't patient.
I thought we bought it from China.
We bought one of them from Japan and one of them from China.
I see.
Because that's where we are in life.
I remember it being a very difficult process.
It really was. And then announced the games and took the patches down. So now we own copies that we can't patch. Anyways, that's happening soon. So if you want to head on over and help us pay for it, we just finished Longcast. We caught up finally. We've been behind on Longcast since Longcast number 1 because that happened right when I took paternity leave to go have Storm, and we've been behind ever since. And we're finally caught up. So if you want us to unlock our next shortcast for Metal Gear Solid, you can go and do that. If we are 3 to 4 episodes away from the end of this game, we'll be having a poll soon to pick our next game. And so everyone who donates will have access to those polls. And if you like us a lot and you want to support us on a more consistent basis, we now have membership tiers. So we have the $1 a month tier, which gets you the things that I already said, where you can get access to the polls. You can get access to the Book Club no Kuseki episodes a month before everyone else. And you also get your nickname to be green in the Discord, which is the best part, because I forget that happens because most everyone in the Discord has donated at least once. So almost everyone's name is green now. But you then can bump up your donations to $5 a month, where you not only get all of that, but we also read out your name at the end of each episode, just like this. Shoutouts to Aaron524, Cerebral Wind, Anthony Lerma, Vim K, JFro Prime, Eli Bergmoss, Doho, and Tuxedo Ken. And then if you really, really like us, or you have something that you want to shill, you can donate the $20 a month tier, where we not only read out your name, but give you a shout out. Our current and only luminary is our friend Carr, who is a dentist, not a Twitch streamer. So his shout out is not a URL. It's a shout out for your own mouth. And he says to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, the time right before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Maddie Grace Weapon.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Goodbye, everybody.